Salam alaikum. Ich soll es zu lernen scheren. Pipi pipi.
Today's episode is just a rant. An informative rant, I hope, but a right tirade nonetheless. So, listener, rant incoming, you've been forewarned. Okay, I'm tired of reading terrible poems online, and I want to make sure that not a single listener of mine writes one of them or feels obligated to like them. So, listen, I hate couplets. What is a couplet? It's a couple of lines, couplet, literally two after each other that rhyme, and I hate them. I'm tired of them. Done. Why do I hate them? Because they're cheap and they're overused. Generally, when poets use couplets, then the intonation falls at the end of the line time after time after time. It's like hitting a series of stop signs or getting stuck in traffic. Plus, to keep the rhyme, they end in these abrupt, stale masculine rhymes, single-syllable, unimpressive end rhymes. And the internet is full of amateur poets writing poems with couplets in A, A, B, B, C, C, and so on rhyme pattern. And I'm sick of it. And it's not just amateurs, though, who misuse the couplet. Listen to this poem by Robert Louis Stevenson. The Land of Nod by Robert Louis Stevenson. From breakfast on through all the day, at home among my friends I stay, but every night I go abroad, afar into the land of Nod. All by myself I have to go, with none to tell me what to do. All alone beside the streams and up the mountain sides of dreams. The strangest things are there for me, both things to eat and things to see, and many frightening sights abroad till morning in the land of Nod. Try as I like to find the way, I never can get back by day, nor can remember plain and clear the curious music that I hear. Okay, it's whimsical and cute, I guess. It's about going off to the land of Nod, essentially being asleep and dreaming. But why do I hate the couplets here? While using couplets gives it this familiar nursery rhyme feel, it took me reading this maybe 3 or more times to actually understand what the poem is even about, because the couplets were so distracting. And that's the difficult part about rhyming. In other episodes, I talked about how rhyme helps with memorization. Our mind marks rhyme. So when poets work with this AABBCC pattern, my mind is marking every ending to the point that I'm more focused on getting to the next rhyme than actually paying attention to the text. Furthermore, I think there are just weak rhymes here. Many poets end up throwing their sentence structure into predictable and archaic configurations just to land on a dumb rhyme, like from breakfast on through all the day. All the day is just made like that to get an extra unstressed syllable in, but it gets worse. At home among my friends I stay. Who talks like that? And even if it's poetry, where I believe we can depart a bit from the way we normally speak, this is just too forced. And what does that even mean? At home among my friends I stay. Are his friends at his house all the time? Among his friends? And stay is a weird way to put that anyway, but suffice it to say, I think this is garbage. I got the idea of the land of Nod from the title, and the rest of the poem doesn't even add much from there. Then there's a visual rhyme, a rhyme that only matches on paper. All by myself I have to go, with none to tell me what to do. G-O and D-O. Anyway, it's garbage. Later, we get the same rhyme of abroad and nod that we had in the first stanza. There's also a repeat of day, this time rhyming with way instead of stay. Anyway, it screams, I put way too much effort into this, and still it wasn't enough. I hate the sound of couplets. I hate how they're so distracting, and I hate how they stop each line like a red light after a red light after a red light. Now, that's not to say that there aren't exceptions. A well-timed couplet is possible. Basil Bunting in Briggflatts, a great long poem I hope to do an episode on, ends each stanza in part 1 with a couplet, and it works. So here's a sample. A mason times his mallet to a lark's twitter, listening while the marble rests, lays his rule at a letter's edge, fingertips checking, till the stone spells a name naming none, a man abolished. Painful lark, laboring to rise, the solemn mallet says, in the grave's slot he lies, we rot. The fact that it ends in a couplet marks a great line. In the grave's slot he lies, we rot. And there are others like it in Briggflatts. For instance, the mason stirs. Words. Pens are too light. Take a chisel to write. Or this one that's also been a mind and earworm for me. No one here bolts the door. Love is so sore. All of those occur at the end of a whole non-rhyming stanza. So they round it off, tie a loose end. And the content is especially good. They are not contrived and they are clearly purposeful. But I can't say the same for Stevenson's. An example of a poem that does use consistent couplets that I happen to like is this one by Robert Frost. Have a listen. Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief, so dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. Nothing Gold Can Stay is about the transient nature of good things, that all good things must come to an end. Now, Frost is a master of form poems and also about doing that in a modern way. First of all, it's only 8 lines long. Any longer than this, and it would just be too much. So why do I think this works better than Stevenson? Why do I think this is stronger? Well, it's got other stuff going on. The content itself is much more interesting than The Land of Nod. The wisdom of Nothing Gold Can Stay is coupled with images from nature and nice metaphors. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour, then leaf subsides to leaf. That repetition of leaf 3 times is a progression of how finite and brief things are. Flowers give way to becoming fruit, or leaves, in what seems to be an hour. But even those leaves will wilt and be shed once leaves grow further up a branch. The first couplet here actually annoys me. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. And then he follows it with another one, right? Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. But that is grouped thematically with the next line, then leaf subsides to leaf. So it breaks it up and it adds something substantive. Lines 3, 4, and 5 are grouped together. So it's not just in groups of 2 the whole way through. Anyway, while the first 2 lines, nature's first green is gold, her heart is hue to old, annoys me, I can forgive him once he breaks it up in the next 3 lines. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour, then leaf subsides to leaf. That's enough for me, since it breaks it up a bit, ending with leaf subsides to leaf, which is just a great line. And that, I think, is ultimately why this works and Stevenson's doesn't. The content is interesting enough to overcome the couplets. Even just taking the first line, nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Nature's first green is gold. Green is not gold. So we have to think about that in a different way. Her hardest hue to hold at least gives us some clue. Gold is a hard color for nature to keep, and it's associated with autumn. And yet the green always gives way for some half the year or less to changing colors, dying, and being replaced by flowers. The next line. Tyler Malone on the Poetry Foundation website, close reading for this poem, offers a cool exercise. Taking every word of nature's first green is gold, and he comes up with this exercise to match those words with a related word to try to pull out some meaning. Nature's first. First could mean chronologically first. It could mean best. Green could mean the color. Green could refer to spring. Green can also mean inexperienced. Green can maybe even mean money. And doing the same with gold, then you've got a whole array of possible meanings. Nature's best money is gold. Nature's first show of inexperience is worth it, and so on. I don't have the space here to go through all of them and exhaust all the meanings and associations, but Malone makes enough of a point, the same one I'm making here. There's more behind the couplets, and the content itself is worth my time despite the couplet rhyme. In fact, it becomes interesting to me that a complex reflection of the brevity of all good things in this nature poem is posed in just 8 lines, and couplets despite. That shows a level of skill, whereas Stevenson's seems to me just contrived. And for my own sanity, I won't read Stevenson's again, but feel free to go back and listen to it if you want, but for me, once is way more than enough. Here's Frost again. Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour, then leaf subsides to leaf. So Eden sank to grief, so dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. Do you feel that difference? I have some ways to break up your couplets and to keep your poems interesting, to keep your poems from being like this. Instead of A, B, B rhyme patterns, a series of couplets, first thing you do is try writing in quatrains, which are 4 lines, like A, B, or A, B, B, A. You can then extend that to sextets, even like ABC, or AB. But anyway, that already breaks up the rhyme scheme and allows you the freedom to work out an idea with more complex rhythms and with easier to read sentence structures. Alternatively, you can do what Bunting did and insert a couplet in the final lines of your free verse poems in order to stick the landing. Okay, I ended up showing how I actually do like Robert Frost couplets and Bunting's, so I guess not all couplets are bad, but I think maybe they're just badly treated, and I'm tired of it. I don't like it. They're generally overused and misused, so don't do it, and you'll be a better poet as a result, I promise. Hey y'all, Preston here. My favorite line of Frost's poem is, "Then leaf subsides to leaf." Tell me yours or ask me stuff on Preston's Poetry Podcast Instagram or Facebook pages, or at prestonspoetrypodcast.com. We'll see y'all.